What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, thank you for everybody in the comments for correcting me on the John Linneman's remarks about graphics and stuff. Now, one reason why I got it wrong, I said that he was talking about Hellblade. Stellar Blade versus Hellblade 2. It's because I have listened to him anyway. Because I know you guys are like, oh, they're all ponies and blah, 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 right? And I do recognize their bias, right? But I will say that Richard Ledbetter is the one that I really he was the main one. He is the boss, basically. And so he's the super nerd of them, for real, because literally yesterday I listened to a video of his, and he was talking about graphics cards or something and graphics performance, and he went on for like a good 30 minutes. And I was like, huh? He was going. It's been a while since I've seen a video with just him, and that's why I still mess with him. But anyway, you know, I do appreciate y'all, and I do recognize the bias. Trust me, I'm not giving him 100% pass, you know. But yes, he was talking about Death Stranding 2 versus Hellblade 2. Now, even with that comparison, Hellblade 2 is still a better looking game. Now, I know better looking is subjective because maybe he likes the cleanness, maybe he likes the unrealistic versions of humans that represent the humans in Death Stranding 2. Now, the way that I see it, right, it's always been a drive to get the 100% realistic graphics, right? Ever since Mortal Kombat, ever since whenever, you know, they were using real people for a long time in order to emulate these things, right? And now they're kind of going back to it, but with better technology, better, you know, implementations. And I said it in the last video, objectively, Hellblade looks better because it looks more realistic. Not because, oh, I prefer this art style over that art style. I'm talking about realism. The goal is to represent humans, right? Norman Reedus versus homegirl, I forgot her name. Wow, that's a shame. I forgot her name. Jorgensen is her last name? I can't remember. Anyway, Melina? I don't know. I think it is Melina, right? Anyway, sorry Hellblade actor. But yes, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at representation of realistic human beings. Now, I'm not saying that Death Stranding 2 looks bad or awful. You know, Kojima knows how to put a camera in the right spot and put the lights in the right spot. He's very good at cinematography, let's just say. For not being a cinematographer, he's pretty good. I'm going to assume that he's doing that. But maybe he has a cinematographer on staff that does all that stuff. And he just says, do this. And they're like, okay, boop, boop, boop. No, I like it. Make it look better. And he says, okay, and then boop, boop, boop. That's better. You know, I don't know. I don't know how Kojima does his stuff. But, like I said, John Linneman is showing his bias, obviously. And he can't be impartial when it comes to those things because, you know, if like me, for instance, I am Sega, right? So Xbox versus PlayStation, Death Stranding versus Hellblade 2, it doesn't matter. When I'm looking at video games as a whole, the most realistic, close to real life looking video game to date is Hellblade 2. Everybody else is just video games. Everybody else is a CG representation of Norman Reedus or whoever else, Anya, blah, blah. Nah, it's not her. I forgot who the actress is. Or Troy Baker. And some of the things that happen in that trailer, the Death Stranding 2 trailer, it's goofy. It's anime, and certain people like that, but you know, that's how the first trailers were, just like that. But the game wasn't even close to that vibe, if you will, right? You look at the vibe of the trailers, and you're like, yo, that's crazy. That game's gonna be dope. It's gonna be off the wall. And then you're freaking a delivery man walking across this is nothing like the trailer didn't show. They showed whales and baby feet and babies in the throat and all kind of stuff. And all I see is walking with boxes. You know? So, you know, it was a bait and switch. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about graphics. We're talking about John Linneman's bias. And, you know, it's there. Whatever. What are you going to do? But we all know, because I was watching the internet yesterday, and so many people agree with what I'm saying. Hellblade 2 is the best looking game. Hellblade 2 looks better than Death Stranding 2. And Stellar Blade 2 for that matter. But like I said, the same way that Stellar Blade is stylized anime CG graphics, it's the same way that Death Stranding is stylized close to human CG graphics. Like Final Fantasy, what you call it, Within, the Spirits Within, was that the name of the movie? Where it had Steve Buscemi and Alec Baldwin and whoever else was in it. Those were stylized humans. Not as good as Death Stranding, I would say. I would say certain parts of it are better as far as texture work and lighting and stuff and hair. But certain things in Death Stranding are better than that, because of just the advancement in technology and the lessening of the uncanny valley. Still, you know, people are gonna have their opinions, so that's fine. But my point, although it was on a different game, still stands. You know, and so that can't be swayed or anything. But moving on to another different topic, which is the Sony Pony Donkey Unicorn fanboy reaction to the state of play. The most famous is your boy Lucas, idiot boy Lucas. What's his name? Knucklehead Lucas. Lucas, you know him. Amazing Lucas, whatever. He went off. Of course, he blamed Xbox, but that's not the point. He went off, and his sentiment was that Sony doesn't have any originality. How long have I been saying that? How long have I been saying Sony is creatively bankrupt? I mean, look, I could say the same thing over and over again, which is kind of what I've been doing, to be honest. But when a crazed Donkey Unicorn Pony man comes out and says it himself, along with a bunch of racial slurs, epitaphs, whatever, he might be a racist. I'm just saying, with that rant, I don't watch him. I've seen clips of him. That's all I've seen is clips that people have provided on Twitter X. I never said, you know what, that's a lie. I think I did sit down and watch one of his videos one time, and I was like, this shit is whack. Okay, it wasn't whack, but it was like, it's a little insufferable. Only because his arguments aren't, he's like a crazy fanboy that doesn't make a lot of, he's talking on his feels and not on like common sense, industry stuff, the business side, the human side. I mean, all of the different factors that create this thing that we love called video games, which are every part is important. If we want it to survive, if we want it to flourish and grow and be there for your kids and your kids' kids and your kids, generations from now, then we got to stop playing stupid and, you know, look at the real picture, the big picture, all the pictures. And he's just a fanboy screaming. And yes, he's doing it for a reason, because he knows that if he does the biggest, boldest, most crazy, idiotic reaction, that he will be clipped out and he will get more traction. And that's the sensationalism, the sensationalized sector, factor, whatever you want to call it, segment of YouTube and the internet, what's going on now. IGN is playing in that as well because they need the clicks, you know, so they're doing that as well. I think I saw a thing about that yesterday, the day before, where Ryan McCaffrey, they literally spoiled, it was today, they literally spoiled the end of Suicide Squad. IGN spoiled the end of Suicide Squad, and they said, oh, here's the end of Suicide Squad, you can watch it or not, or if you care or whatever. I was like, really? You just spoiling games now? Okay, so what I put in my little Twitter rebuttal was, I expect IGN to spoil every major game from now on. And I call them cowards because they won't do it. They're not going to spoil a Sony game. Why? They should. Because, hey, spoilers here. If you care or not, every game should be spoiled now. Because most of them PlayStation run one and done sad dad walking simulators. I'm not going to play them. Just show me the ending. Show me all the cutscenes. Make a movie out of it so I can just watch it, because literally that's all it is a movie game. So, and that's what the whole Kojima thing is going to be. And that's why people are like, oh, Kojima, he did all this he just gave you some crazy whack, no frill stuff on the Xbox, but now we getting another Metal Gear type of game, and we getting Death Stranding 2, boo, boo. I'm like, remember what I said, what I called Kojima's games? I said Kojima's games, without that high budget, they are indie games. You know why? Because they take chances. All the things that indie games do, Hideo Kojima does. He takes chances. He does unique, interesting things that don't always work out, but that's how indie games are formed. That's what indie games are. He's doing it on a higher budget. So is that a AAA indie? I'm gonna call them AAA indies. That's what I think that's what the first Hellblade was considered, or that's what Ninja Theory said. Yo, this is a AAA indie. So let's do that. Let's bring that back. Let's call Kojima's games AAA indie games. And that's what it is, you know. AAA in the budget, indie in its ideas. That sounds about right, right? Let's do that. Okay. Glad we agree. But yeah, the rhetoric behind that whole thing, and it wasn't just Lucas. I think there were other people who were kind of like, meh. A lot of people were mid. A lot of, I guess, Xbox fans or anti-Sony fans really were harsh on it. I said 7.5 if I'm feeling frosty. But as a Sony showcase, a Sony state of play, it was like a 6 because there was no Sony games. It was all third-party games. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. I mean, it should have got a 0 because there were no Sony games, right? But I'm gonna give them a little bit of something, like E for effort for showing up or whatever. I mean, or giving money to the third parties to show their stuff. I don't know, whatever. But you know, I think Fratanga said it. Oh no, it was King with the boot on their neck. I appreciate it in the comments. Boot on their neck. He said that you can't save Kong, and PlayStation's going to be an app. You know, all the things that he said. Now I don't think there'll be an app. They're too much entrenched in hardware to just abandon it all the way. But like I've been saying, their AAA, what their AAA was, is no longer that. And if it is that, if the game is that, they're cutting it into 2 or 3 pieces, like Spider-Man 3. They're cutting that up because they can't afford to just release one of those for $70. Instead, they say, oh, let's cut the one $70 game into 3 pieces and get 150 instead of 70. Math-wise, that works out and it saves them. Is it going to work? I mean, for me, I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad of an idea, especially if the game is going to be a reduced price, $20 less. It's not that bad of an idea, but it seems a little desperate. It seems like I think they're doing it the wrong way, because instead of reducing the sizes of their games and maybe charging $60 like it used to be, right? Because like I said before, they created this problem themselves. They created this whole AAA 20-hour experience. Only Sony could do it. Okay, sure. And only Sony could go out of business if they keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? They realize they can't keep doing it. And you look at Hellblade 2, which is, say it with me, AAA indie. And it is, I believe, even though the first game was the same, that's what games were. You know, 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours, maybe if we're lucky, you know, $50. I mean, honestly, they could charge $60 because that was the bottom, but $50 is even better. You know, you charge $50, 8-hour game, let's go. That's bought. Even if if the game is good enough, or if they do a little whatchamacallit, I know it's only digital, but if they did a collector's edition with some stuff in it, maybe. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan of Hellblade per se, but you know, certain games like The Witcher 3 had a dope, just regular box copy. It had a map and all kind of stickers and stuff. I was like, yo, I know I said this before. And I think Cyberpunk had the same thing. So certain companies give you give you more cluck for the buck, and I was like, all right, cool. But like I said before in one of my previous videos, if they create a market where they have these niche collector's editions, then people will still buy those. So just do that, you know, and don't worry about the regular the regular physical copy, or just reduce the amount that you make. Make it a limited edition thing. Maybe 5,000 copies were manufactured, and they're numbered 1 through 5,000, and you look at the numbers, how much you guys are selling as far as physical copies, and just make around that many. That way you don't have to waste that much money on shipping or in production and stuff. I mean, I don't know. There's ways to do it to satisfy all of the customer base. But anyway, sorry, I'm retreading on stuff. But, back to the initial kind of thoughts of the PlayStation state of play and the reactions from the Donkey Unicorns and the fanboys. Like I said, there is a switch and a change from the actual, the industry. You see the industry is changing. You see Sony is adjusting. And in turn, the fanboys, the Donkey Unicorns, the ponies, they have to readjust their expectations, and they have to start to readjust their behaviors. They're going to try to hold on to any little win that they can conjure up. But honestly, the majority of people, whether it's casuals, people who are wise to the machinations, I don't know if that's probably not the right word, the shenanigans, that's better, of PlayStation, you're going to be like, okay, show the games. Don't talk to me about console sales. That's another thing that King said. He said, I don't want to hear about how many consoles you sold. Where your games at? What are you playing? How much is the number of consoles you sold worth when you got nothing to play? PlayStation got no games. For all those consoles they sold, no games to play. Ouchie oochie. What are you gonna do? And I watched the VR, those 2 VR games again, and I was like, all right, Metro looks good. Legendary, whatever. I was like, okay, it doesn't look as bad as I saw it the first time. Still doesn't look good. Still looks like a PS3 game. So y'all can say whatever. And somebody was like, oh, because it was in the VR point of view, so it was all stuttery and jittery and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, we are years, I'm going to say decades, but we're years deep into this generation, this Neo VR movement. I don't want to hear about, oh, it's because it's from the POV of the heads. No. That's not how this works anymore. You better encropulate, intropulate, and flopulate some frames and get them smoothed out, because I don't want to hear nothing about your jitter jatters and your flipper flappers. I saw it, I was like, and it wasn't even the stuttery stuff that I was like, I understand that that's what VR looks like when you're not wearing the helmet. I was talking about the graphics. We talk about graphics. Yeah, it's bad. Anyway, yeah, but no, that's whatever. It's just a bunch of craziness. And my brain has been scattershot. I've been thinking about a whole bunch of crazy video game stuff when this comes to arcade stuff. I want to build some arcade games, and what I want to do with like a MAME cabinet, specialized MAME cabinet for myself. I want to kind of experiment with myself, and then I'm gonna see. That's a pause. And then I want to build my brother one, because he's like, oh word. I mentioned it one time, and he's like, oh shoot, that'd be cool. I was like, I know what to do with you. I'm gonna build you a super duper booper duper. But I would probably get him, I guess Pandora's box is the more, not stable, it's just easy to get. Because I tried to buy something from AliExpress, and they canceled my order probably because my credit card flagged them or something, because it was like China, hell no. And so I was like, you know what, screw y'all. I'll just get something from Amazon and do it from there. But, a lot of them are older chips, so the performance is wishy-washy on certain stuff. But I'm not like, I don't care about PS2 and all this. It's really about the old MAME stuff. If it was just all 100% everything MAME, I'd be straight. So I don't really care about console stuff that much to emulate. You know what I'm saying? Because it's harder to emulate arcade units, because it's harder to get. Like, I saw Outrun stand-up arcade. Sorry for the tangent. But I saw Outrun stand-up arcade for sale. I think it was on Facebook Marketplace or something. $5,000. I'm like, listen, I know it's retro, it's freaking 40 years, 40 years old, but there's no way in the world of heavenless, no, I'm not spending $5,000 on an Outrun, and it's like 4x and it's a tube screen, and like people, the purists are like, oh, but you gotta, I'm like, no. I would scrape up my pennies and my cents, and I would get a Mister, and I would emulate it through that, get it on a big old fat juicy screen. I mean, it'd be widescreen, but I could crop it to 4:3, excuse me. And you know, I want them crispy pixels. You know, I don't want it. I mean, I understand the nostalgia and looking at that stuff, but that stuff didn't look good when it was, you know. Yes, tube TVs are superior in a way, but nah, B. I want like OLED Outrun. That's what I'm talking about. Even though that's bad because it would be super duper burning if you had the same game on. Because yeah. Anyway, whatever. I'm rambling. But anyway, I appreciate y'all hanging out. Like and subscribe. At the end of my videos, I'll tangent on to certain different things, like whether it's video game, old school stuff, arcades, or you know, sprites, or music, all those things. I'm gonna start incorporating some of those different things because, you know, they're part of my interest vocabulary, vernacular. No, that's not it. Interest zeitgeist. Nope, that's not it. Words escape me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what y'all think about the reactions from the Pony Donkey Unicorns of this showcase. And once again, I appreciate y'all setting me straight on that John Lennon stuff as far as the game, the correct game. But still stands. Let me know if y'all think Hellblade looked better than Death Stranding. And that's about it. But yeah, always preach. And I'll check y'all on the next one. Took the wait.